Hello, welcome back. So for this video, we are going to complete this assembly exercise. Notice our goals. We are creating sub-assembly structures, and we are also going to mate parts using our fasten and Revolute mates. All right, first off, we do want to make a copy of this document. Go ahead and do that. So now with step 2, we are going to create an assembly. Put it on here, click the plus sign, create assembly. Now we're just inserting our pieces. So we are going to fix this piece to the origin. So watch closely how we do this. So I go to insert. I open up this drop-down menu. I click on universal joint flange, and then I hit the check mark. By clicking on this check mark, our object will be fixed at the origin. So notice we just fixed it right at the origin. Well, we placed it on the origin. We haven't fixed it yet. We're actually going to fix it now. So let's go ahead and right-click on our object, click Fix, and we cannot move this object. So now we're going to add our separate pieces. Notice they're not going to be laid out on the origin. We're just placing them on the side. So let's click Insert, open up this drop-down menu. We click, click, and we place our objects. Well, didn't happen. And here we go. All right. Now we're going to be placing our little box right here in between this orange piece here. All right, so that is our universal joint center box, which will be inside of our joint. So let's go ahead and mate that. We're going to use a Revolute. I click on this piece here, and then I click on one of these icons. I want to get the one that's parallel. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. All right. So we hit the check mark right here. And that looks good. Step 7, we are connecting this light blue piece right here to our dark blue item. So notice we do have to click about the center. So let's zoom in. And we want to hover over that area, but we first need to use a fastened mate. Hover a little bit closer. There we go. So now we have it. I'm going to hold Shift. I zoom out. And I click right at the center. So now I want to get this other piece over here. So notice we're doing it right at the center of this face here. So we hover over here, hold Shift, and go to the center, and we connect that, hit the check mark. For step 8, we are now placing these two connected items in between the joint and the box. So we are going to select this face right here of this light blue item and the center of this face of the box. So let's watch closely. This will be a fastened mate. So I click on fastened mate. I zoom in, and I want to hold Shift on this face right here. All right. I go to the center. I click. I zoom out. I go back to my box, and I want this face right here, the flat face. Hold Shift. Go to the center, and click, and we hit the check mark. All right, so now for step 9, we are going to move this piece here down to a subassembly. These two items, they're highlighted right now. It's what we just created. So we're going to click on this graphite phosphor bronze bush and click on the joint axle, right click, and move to new subassembly. All right, so now we're going to be working in this area down here. In this section, we are going to click on this. We're going to left click, right click on the center dot, and we're going to move this to the origin. Now we want to anti-align this. So anti-align with the Z axis. And now notice this top piece, the flat portion, is facing the top. So let's go ahead and fix this. So I right click and fix this object. So those were steps 11 and 10. For step 12, we're going to use the replicate feature, and we're going to replicate what we've just created, our universal joint subassembly. So I'm going to rename this file, by the way. So rename, and And this is now the universal joint subassembly, but I'm not writing that out. So now let's go ahead and replicate. We have to go back to assembly 1, click replicate, and notice for instances, we're going to click on our universal joint subassembly. This is what we just created right now, and the match edges on the face, so we're going to manually select these faces. Here's our first phase, second face, and our final face. And we just replicated our subassembly. So hit the check mark, and that is completed. Now for step 13, we are going to copy this orange item right here, our joint flange, and we are going to paste it. Let's go to our universal joint, right click, copy, and we just paste it anywhere. For step 14, we're combining our new joint flange to our box, but this is going to be a little bit tricky. Keep in mind we do need to add some limits. By the way, we forgot some limits in step 6. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So we need to fix this Revolute. So we're going to add these limits right here. So we go back to our Revolute, we can click edit, limits, we add a -90 rotation and then a +90 rotation. So this allows us to spin our object 180 degrees. So notice it is able to spin 180. And I'm going to just reset that. All right. So now for our last piece, we're going back to our step 13. We already copied our item. There it is. We're back on step 14. And in this situation, we are going to use a Revolute mate to connect the box to this new flange. So here's a Revolute mate. I click on this item. I notice this mate connector here. We already connected our first flange to one of these planes. So now we're going to connect it to the other one. Let's see if we get the right one. So I'm going to click on this one here. And let's add some limits to get some rotations, -90, 90 to play. So we got it on the right section. So it's spinning well. All right, but I'm not enjoying how it's spinning, so I'm going to still not. I'm going to flip it. And that's how we want it spinning. We want it spinning -90 to this direction over here, and then +90 in the other direction. But it should not overlap with the bottom section. All right, so hit the check mark. And notice I drag it over, and it is able to move. And for step 15, we're just playing with this item. We already did, and it works, so we're good to go. Now for step 16, we are resetting all of these features here. All right. And for our final step, we are checking our mask properties to check the location of our new joint flange, which is this item here. So go ahead and click on this mask properties feature and use that to check for understanding in the following section. Thank you for watching.